Morning. All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you this fine morning? Looks like the rain's held off a little bit, which is good. I'm off mute, right? There we go. Okay. So how many of you panicked this week when you logged in and you saw Authentisign was changed? Sorry, I should say last week, right? Last week's when it happened. So we're going to go over some basics. We're going to start with web kits and creating your kits and your forms. And then I'm going to go into the new Authentisign and show you guys how it's basically the bones are the same, but the interface is different. For those of you who haven't been using Authentisign or newer, this is lucky for you because you're just going to learn this. When you go in, you can choose the classic or you can choose the new now. I suggest you force yourself to keep on trying to use the new. Very often after being on the board for so long, when they introduce two things, they're going to make you either choose one or they're getting rid of the old one. So it's just a smart idea to sort of go through it now while maybe you're not in a rush or you're in the middle of trying to put together a deal, an offer or something, and just teach yourself on it a little bit and try and use it. So does anybody have any specific questions about it that they want me to cover? Just let me know. Oh, hold on, let me let somebody in here. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some training. I want to make a couple of mentions for the Remax back office. I know I was training some people this week on getting leads and stuff in the back office and using the CRM back there. I've booked the head office to do it next Tuesday on the 28th to come in and train us in the morning. So don't miss out on that one. And I'll get started. So we're going to go in and just go into our Stratus. You guys can log in and you're welcome to go along with your own devices. I usually in person used to do BYOD sort of sessions at my last office there, which is bring your own device, because I find that when somebody shows me something and I don't walk through it, I kind of go to do it myself and I forget, right? So it's good practice if you want to practice along and see what we're doing. Actually, let me just turn the light off here so it's darker. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that you can create your kits in Webforms. For those of you who missed my last session when I did the kits and all that we create in Webforms, I did go back and I made a bunch of templates for the office, just basic ones that we're doing. If you guys are doing something beyond a normal everyday transaction, the kit might not be there, but we'll go a couple different ways. So I'm going to go from the basics first. We're just going to go into Webforms, okay? So once you open up Webforms for the first time, it's going to give you a couple of screens. You know, I agree to this. You want to, the first thing you want to do after you pass all that is go and make sure that your profile is set up correctly. So you're going to go into settings and you're just going to click on a couple of these, you know, like your user information, make sure your name, that's how it's going to appear for signings. And in your kits, when you're sending things back and forth to your clients. You want to make sure that this email address is up to date. If it's like your Trev email or your Remax email and you don't check it that often, that's not going to be beneficial to you because this is the way they authenticate things in Authentisign, right? Your email address is very important for that. So the first thing we're going to go do is we're going to go in here now and create some contacts. As you guys can see, I have a trillion contacts in here. It's all my clients that, you know, I have Authentisign with or anybody I need to send something to for e-signature. Now, I find it beneficial if you go in and you create a contact every time you start a kit, because when you start a kit, it's not always the first time you're not only going to just use that person once necessarily for an e-signature. Come sit. So you might go back and forth. There might be a countersign, you know, there might be a sign back. There might be initials you're missing. And every time you go in to create a signing, you're going to have to enter that client's information and their email address. So I find it beneficial, even though I think, oh, I'm only going to need to sign this document once. I go in and I create a contact, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how to do that really quickly. So you just go into this business card looking section here, and you're going to click add. And you're going to click create contact. And there's really only 4 sections you need to fill out. It asks you the type. So let's just put here, I'm going to enter myself, salesperson, and we'll put Christine Boland and the email address. Okay. And that's the only information you really need. You want to make sure you have your client's name spelled correctly, because this is for e-signature. That's how their e-signature will show up. You know, and if it's spelled wrong, the lawyer might make you do it again, right? So save that information. So take that one step before you start all your signings, because like I say, you might have to go back and forth, and it's much easier. You'll see when I'm adding participants to our signing, how I don't need to go back and forth once there's a contact in there. But before we go into e-signatures and the new Authentisign, I'm going to go and start creating web kits and forms. So we're going to take our little house. So when we come in here, whenever I'm training, I always just sort of tell everybody the house is sort of where you house all your documents you need for one particular transaction, right? So if you're doing 123 Main Street, your agreement of purchase and sale, your identification records, any waivers you add later, any schedules, you can house it all in one little spot instead of having them all over the place, right? So if I click here on the house, you can file this however you want. You can file it by client name. You can file it by address. As you see, I normally file it by address, right? All the kits that you're working on there. And in order to create a new kit, you simply go up here to add. Okay, and you're gonna name it. I'm gonna name it 123 training, right? And then here's where it's really great. I made it super easy for the office. I went and created all the templates here. So you guys don't have to think, okay, oh, what is it I need for this lease transaction? Or what paperwork do I need to load this listing? You're just gonna go in and you're gonna create it here. So I think I'll do a listing, because when I push it from the listing, I'm gonna do an offer, right? So for now, we'll just open up the document and I'll go into freehold for sale listing, right? Good morning. Oh, let me let some people in here. Okay, so I'll go back into the template and I say freehold for sale listing. That's okay. And I go create. So now at this point, it brings you into the wizard for your transaction before it brings you to your forms. Simply what the wizard will do is if you choose to fill out the information beforehand, it'll fill it out on your forms where that needs to be. So street address, city, wherever it shows up in your forms within your web kit, that's where it'll fill out that information. It'll autofill it for you, right? I very often skip this step. I don't know if you guys find benefit to using it. And I'll tell you why, because if I'm filling out my agreement of purchase and sale and I put my seller information, when I go to my confirmation of cooperation, it's already auto-filled there. The wizard's smart enough to work interactively between the forms that you're filling out within your kit. So I find filling it out in the wizard is just an extra step that I don't bother to do. I just start filling out my forms. But if you guys like to look at it like this, it makes more sense to you, fill it out here. It really doesn't make a difference, right? But you can go through all the details. See, it lets you fill out the contract date, expiry date, acceptance date. I don't really find this too useful to fill out. I don't use it that much, right? Tells you who the listing brokerage is, shows you all the forms. You can add forms at this point in time. So if there's a Schedule B, say that you want to attach that's not, that I haven't already put in the basic template, you can add it at this point, right? And it's really simple. You just go add, and it'll ask you where you want to add it from. So whether you have it in the cloud, whether you have it on your computer, whether you have like the individual form here you want to add. So if you had a schedule, for instance, normally we don't add a Schedule B to our listing, but maybe today I want to. So I'm just going to add my schedule to my listing agreement. You simply click the circle. Time you click the circle, whatever form you've picked goes into your basket. You can do different actions with it. Right now, I'm just going to click add here. I'll show you the actions a little bit later when I'm going into Authentisign. Okay, so then I can click next again. It gives you a fax cover sheet. We don't very often fax now. We're sending things via email. So I find I don't use this function often, but it is there for people who are still faxing, or if you have a brokerage that needs something faxed to them, right? But now you can see at the end of it, when you click done, you didn't have to choose the forms. All the forms are there. So I chose freehold for sale listing, and I have everything I need here. I have my MLS data information form. I have my individual identification. I have my working with a realtor, and I have my listing agreement, right? And I also have that Schedule B at the top there that I added, okay? Anybody lost at this point? Because I'm going to show you how to push a web kit from a different way. This is creating brand new from scratch. So say it's most of the time when you're doing a listing, you're going to push it this way. You're going to create your kit from scratch and just choose one of the templates that I've put in there. But say now I want to create an offer. I want to create an offer for a property, right? I'm just going to go out of this for a minute and I'm going to search a property that's currently up for sale. Okay. So let's just go into the area around the office, right? So we'll go to Toronto and we'll go EO4. And we'll go Dorset Park. Sorry?
There's hardly any listings there.
I know. I just need one. There you go, one. So I got what I wanted. 48 Ziesel Way. Just need one to create a kit. Okay, so from this listing, you see Webforms Authentisign, it's on top of the listing. You can also push a kit this way, and I'll show you the benefit of doing it like this. Webforms, right at the top of your listing. Yeah, you just got to click on it. So it takes you right in, and already it's bringing up and it's titling it the address of the property, right? At this point, I can also choose another template. So this, in this case, this would be freehold purchase offer that I'm doing. So a freehold property and my client wants to purchase it, right? So I'm going to click on this template. Don't forget to click your template or you have to add all your forms individually, which I can also show you how to do. It depends how much time we have today because I want to get into Authentisign. And then I'm going to go create. Wait for it to catch up. So the benefit of pushing it directly from the listing is, as you can see now, when we go into the wizard, all the information is filled out. So I don't even have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about it filling it out beforehand. And then when I go to my forms, you'll see that a lot of it's filled out on the forms as well. So we'll click next. You see it's filled out there, the contract date, expiry date. You know, it tells me who the listing person is, who the sellers are, gives me all the forms I need in my kit. And again, I can also go to here and see, do they have a Schedule B? In this case, they have a floor plan. Oh, no, they misnamed it. So you can download the Schedule B from here, from the listing. I'll just add it to my desktop somewhere here quickly, and I'll call it Schedule B. Right? Because I know I'm going to need to attach that Schedule B to my offer now. I can go back to my kit. And I can add the form actually, I'm going to go next because if I go to add the form here at this point, it's going to bring up all the standard forms I have. I'll show you a different way to add it now than I did before. If I go next and done, you can see I have all the forms here now that I need to place this offer for my clients, right? It doesn't want to scroll on me here. Frozen. Okay. So I have my offer summary document, I have my individual identification record, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to click on the agreement of purchase and sale to show you guys quickly. Now it already has most of the information filled out that I need here in my kit. I still urge you guys to do your due diligence. You want to go and make sure the frontage, the depth, the legal description and all of that is correct because it's going directly off the listing. And, you know, human error, you might encounter that the listing agent might have entered something incorrectly because it's just them loading their listing, but at least most of it's filled out for you. So you can sit there and peacefully just fill out what you need to fill out, like your client's information, the offer price, right? In this case, it didn't separate the seller and the seller's names. There's two sellers. So you can go in and just sort of edit this and copy and paste it from one line to the other, whatever you need to do. But at least the information is filled out there from the wizard, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go into Authentisign a little bit. I'm just gonna stop the share for a second, check everybody online, make sure everybody's good online there. Anybody have any questions so far about creating the web kits?
I have a question.
Sure.
I assume that the girls know how to do all this, right?
They do. Okay. So the benefit is that we do have a full service office. They do know how to do everything. But what do you do at 11 o'clock at night when you need to do a counter offer? Torka's not working the front desk at 11 o'clock at night, right? So it's really beneficial to force yourself just to learn how to do this because in a pinch, absolutely, they'll create an offer for you. They'll load your listing. They'll do whatever. But you need to know how to do these things on your own for sure. Because we know real estate is not a 9 to 5 job. And very often we're doing things at midnight, right? So just force yourself to go in there and play around with it a little bit and learn how to do it, right? So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to go back to these web kits. So now I'm going to go, let me just, actually, I should highlight my mouse for you guys online there. Sorry. Yeah.
So you have a quick question.
Sure.
In the seller section, there is like I can see here, so then 2 or 3 people on
right.
title.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So is it possible we can like keep their names separate?
Absolutely. So this is what I mean. Like I would copy and paste this and sort of clean it up. Right. I would say Jude Navis and Jasmine Shine. I wouldn't even do this. Maybe I'd put a comma here. I'd make it make more sense because it's just entering it. The wizard is just taking it off the listing. However, they entered it on the listing. So James Shiny Nino, Leo, and then Jude Navis, I might take, whoops. And I see I put the and sign there and I'll add it here, put the J back where I deleted it there. Right. Just to make it look a little more how it's supposed to, right? Because it's just throwing it on exactly how it was entered on the listing, right?
If you don't do it, is it okay?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Like, I mean, like it doesn't really matter as long as the names are correct on there and they match title, right? It just, if you want to make it less confusing for the lawyers and that looking through and just make a nice clear document, I would normally separate it and put punctuation where it needs to be and separate it on the lines, right? Sometimes the wizards.
Sorry, Christine.
Yeah.
When you put actually separate here.
Yeah.
When you do the signing.
I was just going to say
help,
it does. It does.
Otherwise,
so
it takes it as a one.
Yeah. So when you do the signatures, which I'm going to show you in Authentisign, if I identify that the seller is, which is going to be a little tricky in this transaction, I'll show you what Sadia is talking about, right? But when you go, you can assign who's the seller, who's the buyer, and it'll autofill some of the initials and signatures for you, so, which is a good thing when you separate them. I already know I'm going to have a bit of a problem with it being 2 names in the first line here. So I'll show you guys why. Let me just go to the new Authentisign first, okay? All right, there's always so many things on the screen here when we're sharing and zooming and all right, just need my top toolbar here so everybody can see. Okay, so we always talked about the house. The house is where you house all your forms. The pen is where you sign, but I'm not gonna go just click on this pen. I'll show you guys how to create a new signing if you have to do that, if I have a minute after this, but most of the time we're working out of our forms that we've spent time filling out, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to my paper and because I want to see all my transaction forms, right? And it's going to load all my transaction forms here. And now I have to choose which ones I need to send to e-signature. So I know that I need my client to sign my working with a realtor, my BRA, my agreement of purchase and sale, my confirmation of co-op. I don't need them to sign the identification record and I need them to sign the 801, right? Every time you click on your forms, it adds it to your basket. So remember I was saying your basket, it's like, okay, this is the forms you've chosen. This is about, what do you want to do with these forms? So I'm going to click on it and I have all these different functions. I can fax, I can change, I can download it to PDF version. I can print, I can email it, I can copy it. Now I want to send it to Authentisign and I'm going to click one of these pens. And every time I train this, somebody asks me, why are there 2 pens? I don't know. It's a glitch. If anybody knows what the difference is between these 2 pens, please tell me. I clicked them both. I played around with them both. I have not a clue. So it doesn't matter which one you click. You're just going to click to go to Authentisign. Okay, it's just warning me that I changed something and didn't save. Okay, so this is already taking me to the old Authentisign. So maybe I'm going to have to go this way because we went through WebKits. This is it's glitching. So I'm going to go this way because the whole point of today is to show you guys new Authentisign, right? So back there, what it did for old Authentisign is it created, here, let me just go in here. It pushed it into classic for me, which is like kind of a bummer because we just went that way. But anyways, it pushed it into classic. I can go and I can show you guys old Authentisign as well. But what I'm going to do is I guess we'll go and we'll create a new kit from the signing just because sometimes Stratus is glitchy like that. I'm going to go into new Authentisign because that's the whole point of today. I want to make sure you guys get comfortable with it, right? So I think what I'll do is I'll just grab an old transaction off of here that I've worked on and we'll imagine it's that kit I just pushed, right? So here you are in new Authentisign. You're going to go and you're going to click add. You want to use the new Authentisign. And I'm just going to name it 1, 2, 3 test or something. So it's different from my 1, 2, 3 training. Okay, so this is what new Authentisign looks like. How many guys have gone in here and seen it so far and sort of panicked? I know I panicked the first day I logged in. I was like, what is this? Oh my goodness. Trev is always changing things on us, right? So new Authentisign, I like it. There's some pet peeves about it. I think it might just be a learning curve because it's something new. We all hate, learning something new. If you push it, all your forms should in essence be here, right? But it didn't just now, it just glitched. It didn't push it into the new and it pushed it in the classic for me. So I'm just gonna manually add some forms so we can play around with it and I can show you how to add signers and do some kind of mark up your documents, right? So right here in the middle, you add document or form. And I can either drag my documents or click to upload. So I'm just gonna go to my documents, I'm gonna go to properties, and I'm gonna go to, I don't know, let's go to an old agreement of purchase and sale I have here, right? And I'll load it up. Okay, so it's easy as that. You just go and you pick your document and you want to pull it in. So this is the point where if you needed to add a Schedule B or something, you do it that way, right? Because normally when you push it, all your documents should be in Authentisign. But again, if I want to go and add, maybe I'll go in here and I'll find a Schedule B to add, right? There's a Schedule B and C apparently for this offer that I did, right? So now I have my offer, okay? And I have all the paperwork I need to put in my Authentisign. This is the point where it comes really in handy that you've put in your contacts, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and add some signers, okay? So now I go to add participants. If I hadn't put it in the contacts, I would have to go to add new, okay? Add new is the exact same thing as when you go to add your contacts, you add the first name, the last name, and the email address. The disadvantage of doing it this way is that, say I just had you sign, Ken, and now I realize that they're doing a counter offer and I need you to initial it. When I come back into my signing, I have to re-enter your information in your email again, okay? That's the only reason that I like to do it by contacts. I like to go in and add participants and I add from contacts and the information's sort of always there, right? So I'm just gonna find myself so I don't accidentally send something to one of my clients. My husband laughs actually most of the time. He's like, what's this you sent me? Because I normally use him as an example when we're trading. So I'll add hubby, me, right? And actually I'm not gonna add myself right now. I'll just add hubby there and I'll click select. Okay, it's important you have to click select. If you just click out of it, it's not gonna add the person. So again, I'll go to add participants. And if I go to add contacts, say I pick, Addie from our office, right? Okay, I haven't clicked select at the bottom. If I go back into signers, whoops. If I go back into signers for this transaction, you see it's only Brady there. Addie hasn't been there. So you have to make sure. That's the one thing I've noticed with this new one. Before, when you were clicking, you had to forcibly click save to come back to the screen. This one, it's easy. A couple of times I think I've selected my contact and I come back in and I go, oh, I actually didn't click select. So you have to click select. And then you're going to go to add participants and add yourself. This is where you're going to make sure your profile is okay in your Authentisign, because it's going to auto add your information, right? And again, I'm going to click save here instead of select. Make sure it saves me. And keep in mind for Authentisign, if you have a husband and wife, I get asked this question a lot, you cannot send it to the same email address. Everybody has to have an individual email address because Authentisign uses your email address to authenticate you, right? Because what it does is there's a certificate at the end of your signing and it'll say what IP it was open from, what address it was open from, the date, the time, so basically that's the only way that it's become sort of a secure way to sign things remotely, is it uses your email address to authenticate you, right? So it can track exactly where it was signed. Okay, so now I have Brady signing first and me signing next. This is the way I normally like it. I like my clients to sign first and I like the document to come to myself last, because very often when my 2 or 3 clients have signed on it and I go through the document, I can see where initials or signatures might be missing and I make less mistakes. But say I wanted to change the order of this, okay? Before it was a drag and drop in Authentisign, you used to grab the name and pull. So this is what I started doing at first. I was like, oh, you can't grab the names and pull. In the new Authentisign, you have to click this button on so you can set the signing order, okay? And basically you just change the numbers in the boxes and it'll change the signing order, right? So it didn't do that time, come on. There we go. So see, it's changed me to first now and Brady to second, okay? So if you need to change the order of anything, like they say, oh, send it to me first, and then after I read it, my husband will sign it. Great. Okay, you can set the signing order here.
Which one is better? You sign it first or?
I always like signing it last as the agent, because when, like I say, when the document comes back to me, when I'm signing it and reviewing it, you can like see easier where things are missing. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe I only put the hubby signature and I forgot to put the wife's, or maybe I completely missed the line. When the document comes back to me, I find it's best for me to review it. And then I go, oh shoot, it's missing something. And then I can send it back to them, right? I'd always like to be the last to review the document.
And for the beginning, can we add your name as a reviewer? I didn't know last time when
You
I was
can.
doing something, I saw there's for review section only too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can. So when you send something to somebody for review, you don't have to put a signing block in, right? So if I put myself in here and I don't have a signing block for myself, when I go forward and try to send it, it'll say, hey, you added this participant, but you didn't put any signing blocks for them, right? So in order to say, I just want to, you say, Sadia, send it to me. I just want to review it before my husband signs it. I want to read the document first. I can add you as a reviewer and you can click OK, and then it'll go on to your husband for signature, right? Just depending on the different roles you give people, right? So now I'm going to go and I'm going to mark up this document. Again, it's pretty straightforward, like the classic Authentisign was. I just go into my tools, okay? It's just a little bit different the way I'm dragging and dropping things, but you still have to make sure that the person who's signing is the named person up here, okay? Very important, because whatever actions you're doing on the document is going to be for whoever's name is displayed at that time, right? So if I want, oh, the price changed here, so we're going to initial here. I simply grab it and pull it over, right? And then say I need a signature here. I know it's not right, but I'm just going to throw things on. Now, the thing that I've noticed with this is it auto dates. It even auto dates your initial. Let me pull an initial somewhere clearer that you guys can see. Okay. Well, classic Authentisign never used to auto date. Okay. So we don't need to date the spots where we're initialing down here. So I'll pull one here and let you see it. And it's going to do a funny thing because it's near the edge of the page too, right? It's coming off. I've been deleting them. You don't necessarily need them. If there's a question of the date or time it was initialed, we can always pull that certificate. But you can delete it separate from the initial, right? And just keep it, but it throws an auto date on there. I find it helpful when I'm doing the signature because now I don't have to separately auto date things. It's right there, right? I'll go down to, let me go down to a signature line. Oh, here's a nice clear space. So here I'm going to pull a signature. The date's there already. Before you had to do that as two separate actions, but now it's auto dating for you when you pull the signature. So I think that's a really good tool because most of the time we need to date it, except for those signatures. I find it a little bit annoying. You have to go and delete them. I suppose it's not a bad thing. You don't have to delete them if the date's there, but like if say I had a husband and wife here now that need to sign, I found with the date, I have to put them sort of on top of each other because it's not going to fit, right? Like it doesn't fit in the circle with the dates there now. So it all depends on you guys' preference. I don't see anything wrong with dating your initials, but I've been deleting them. I've been just taking them off. I don't need them because I just want those initials in those boxes that we have to fill out, right? Pull it like this. Okay. You can also choose. So I've just come to this screen. When you click on it, required name block, date stamp, time stamp, you can have it on or off, right? If you don't choose required for your signatures, it gives your clients the option to skip over it, right? We all know in real estate, we need our clients' signatures and initials on those documents, regardless. That's why we're sending it to them. So you've got to make sure required's clicked on your timestamps and your signatures and your initials, because if it's not, then you might skip something with your client, right? It's before, like, remember the option was green and red. Green was optional, red was mandatory, right? It has to be a mandatory signature and initial that we're sending our clients, okay? I'll go back to tools here. So again, sorry?
How do you put the signature in there? Just click on it?
The signature, so you go to the sign here, right? You go to sign here. You see here where it says sign or action.
The initials.
The initials are here right beside it.
I know, but
oh,
in the box.
What do you mean? How do you put it? You just
okay.
Yeah, you can just drag it. You can adjust them. So you just click on it and drag it. So if you're using your mouse, you just click on it and drag it wherever you need it. right?
Yeah.
So you're pulling it from over here. So I'm going to click it and I'm going to hold down the right click, and I'm going to drag it over to where I need it, right?
But the question in the classic version,
Yeah.
used to be like you have to specify the buyer name and the seller name, then it fetch automatic system.
Right. There was the
Not
wizard.
automatically, still in the classic version you have to drag it.
You still have to drag it. Yeah, I'll go.
In the new version, I don't think so.
They haven't come across, they haven't popped it up. So you see how today, that was even new for me, because anything I've done in the new Authentisign, I've just created it from scratch like I did just now. You see when I pushed it from the actual listing, it didn't work today. That was a new thing that I just learned, that it's not doing it, whether that's a glitch or they just haven't connected the two yet. I think there'll be definitely a little learning curve, not a learning curve, but like an edit period where they're going to realize that some of the functions aren't working and sort of fix that, fix all the glitches. I think that it'll come.
But still we have to do manually.
Yeah, right now I think you have to, unless it automatically pops up, let me know, because I think maybe that they might not realize it's not connected that way. But I'll go to the classic one and I'll pull it just so everybody can see what Shan's talking about. You can use the classic, absolutely. So I don't know exactly what's happening, and if anybody finds out, let me know. But I know from my experience, 15 years, anytime Treb introduces something new, it's because they're switching to it. Do you know what I mean? And they're giving you like 5-6 months to go in, familiarize yourself with it, and then you'll start getting emails saying, oh, old classic Authentisign is going now, say bye-bye, save your kits in there. That was another thing. If you guys really need something from your old Authentisign, I urge you to go in and save it, because let me just backtrack here for a minute out of this kit. Oh, I saw somebody has a question there. Maybe I should stop the share as well. If you go, I'll have to go back. Anyways, when we go into the old Authentisign, I'll show you all my old kits are there. In the new Authentisign, only anything since I've done last week is there, right? So if there's something in Classic that you think you might really need or that you want to save, I urge you guys to do that, because you just go in and you can download the PDFs out of your signed stuff.
On your computer.
Yeah, on your computer, yeah. I don't know if they're going to push it from the old or the new. The certificates are still in there. I'll show you when we're finished the signing here, actually. Okay, is date needed in the initial? No, I don't think so. I've been deleting them, Paul. I don't think they're needed. We haven't needed them before. I don't see a reason we need them now. I mean, the document itself is going to be dated, and usually we're just initialing the bottom of each page to say we've understood and read that page. So I don't think it's necessary. Okay, so I'm just going to go over a couple more functions in here quick. The time goes by so fast, and then we'll go over a couple things here. So markup is pretty much the same. So you can go in here and click a text box. The only thing I find is that the text box, I don't know if it deletes after. So, you know what, I should go down to a spot where I've had trouble with it. Let me see. The text box, sometimes when I'm filling out, okay, for instance, when I'm filling out a Schedule B and I don't have anything auto-filled in there, when I go and I take my text box and I throw it in, it's been a lot larger than I need, right? So I don't know if after the fact it'll show up, but say I put 21 in here, I have to adjust it and drag it over to where I need it, and it won't let me. So I've had to go and adjust the text box. Before, you guys know, you kind of put it on the page and dragged it as big as you needed it. This auto, and you can adjust the size of it, but it makes it automatically a large box, this size box, every single time, which I find a little annoying. But other than that, it's the same function. I just turn around, make it smaller again, put it where I need it, right? Then we're going to go down to highlight. Again, you can still highlight things if you want your client to pay particular attention to it, right? We can draw our lines still, which is great if we need to cross out clauses for firm deals, right? You can freehand draw if you don't want a straight line, right? And strike through, which we also need for clauses and stuff, right? Just sort of a fatter line, let us take it off. Basically, all the tools and functions are sort of the same in there to draw and mark up your document. Okay, so I sort of want to go in and talk about what Shan was doing, because I like to point it out for Authentisign when the wizard is automatically filling out things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that kit that automatically created for me in the classic Authentisign. Just remember, another thing I want to mention too, when I've dealt with any RICO complaints, for anybody, a lot of people say, oh, I didn't know what I was signing. It goes really quickly. I want you guys to protect yourself a little bit because Authentisign is still fairly new. I know that we're all used to using it now, right? But a lot of times our clients don't realize because it's so easy to click, click, click without reading. Do yourself a favor, just in case anything happens with your transactions, shoot your client a text or in an email or something and say, hey, I sent you that for e-signature. Let me know if you want me to go over the documents with you. Give me a phone call. I'll be happy to walk you through it. Right? So you have that. So your client can't say you never offered, you didn't say you go through the document with me, because it is super, super easy for our clients to just click, click, click and not read any of the document. Because once you click on one signature, it just flips to the next signature. It doesn't force you to read the document, right? So be very careful with your clients. Okay, so we're going to go into this 1, 2, 3 test that we created. Yeah, we'll go into this one.
Sorry, Christine, we can also share the final copy with the clients.
Yeah, it automatically shares it with them when they're finished signing. But the thing is that when it shares them, they've already done signing it. Do you know what I mean? Like as agents, we're supposed to be walking them through the document to say, hey, this is what this means, and this is why you're signing this, or this is why you're signing here. This is the clause you're waiving your home inspection, you're waiving your finance. And we're supposed to be explaining that to them as we go through the document. So I know we can share with them after, and it does automatically kick it back to them once we go, when Authentisign does it, it does give them a copy, but they've already signed it by that point, right? So we're supposed to be explaining it ahead of time. Okay, so we'll go into classic Authentisign here. Okay. I just want to bring everybody's attention to a few things when we go in, especially since if the new one starts doing this as well, where you can assign who's buyer, who's seller, you have to be mindful that it actually messes up sometimes. You have to get used to the documents, right? You can't just automatically assume the wizard knows what it's doing. So I'm going to go into participants again. It brings me automatically into this section where it's all the people from like the seller and the listing agent. I don't need any of their signatures, right? So I go add participants again, and I go to add from my contacts. So we're going to go to those contacts again. And I'm just going to put Brady again and add. And then I get to assign who he is. Here is where I'm going to say, okay, he is buyer number 1. Great. Save. Then I also want to add myself. And I'm going to say that I am, whoops, not add another. The cooperating salesperson, which it's not going to do now. Let me just X myself out here. Add participants, add myself, and then add. And it's going to pop up, and I'm going to say I'm the cooperating salesperson in this transaction. Okay, and then save. Now my documents, I can go in here. I see it has my working with a realtor, my BRA, my agreement of purchase and sale, my confirmation of cooperation, my offer summary document. I always like to have before my agreement of purchase and sale. So I'm going to change the order, and I want to add one more document. I'm going to add a Schedule B from my computer. I'm just going to pick it off of any Schedule B I have there. So now I have everything I need there. Now I go to design, right? This is just like sort of the tools area in the new Authentisign. And it's going to auto-fill some things out for me. So right away, I can see off the bat, my working with a realtor document has an error in it. Okay, so the wizard is great. It saves us a lot of time. You don't have to pull the individual initials and signatures for anything, but you have to be familiar with your forms in order to use the wizard. That's the catch-22. So I already know by looking here, this is incorrect because it's representing my interest and not representing my interest. How can my client sign that I'm all representing and not representing their interests, right? So I know I have to go in here and I have to delete this. This is incorrect. I'm gonna go ahead to the BRA, and already I see that there's another error. And this does it on the listing agreements too, not just for offers, okay? So you have to be mindful. This says that I'm signing my client for longer than 6 months. Very often we don't do that. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna delete that. I don't need to sign that for my clients.
But if it is there, is it a harm?
Yeah, because you're saying that you're signing your client for longer than 6 months and you're not, it's incorrect. Yeah, unless you actually are. Like if you're taking a commercial deal that you know is gonna take a long time to sell and I've signed them for a year and a half, then yeah, you definitely want to sign that spot, but it's incorrect, right? If you're getting them to sign. Now I know that it's also going to be missing some spots. I'm sort of going ahead of you guys there, but it's initial at the bottom of the page, and it come down here, and it has my name and the date stamp, buyer's name and the date stamp, and the declaration of insurance is missing. So I know that it doesn't automatically fill that out because the spot says salesperson, broker of record. It's not just saying, it's not just a regular spot. A number of people are able to sign this section. So that's why they leave it like that, and it doesn't autofill with the wizard. So I have to directly pull a signature there. Or when I put this document in, it's going to be missing, right? Again, here, my 801, there's just a million spots it does it. I'm not at a counter offer yet, so I don't need my client's initial there yet, right? The agreement of purchase and sale, it's got my buyer there, my buyer there. I think the agreement of purchase and sale for the most part is good with the wizard. Oh, no, the acknowledgement. So see, I don't need to sign the acknowledgement until the offer is accepted. Delete it there. I know on the confirmation of cooperation, it definitely messes up there a little bit. It has the multiple, which is a big one. It's not multiple representation a lot of the times, right? You're going to delete it from there. So I just caution you guys, just be careful when you're using the wizard when it autofills. It's great because you don't have to like take so much time and pull each thing individually, but it does autofill sometimes in the wrong spot where it's not supposed to be. All right, let me just stop the share. How's everybody online? Does anybody have any questions or confused where I went to go get something or how I did something? Like I say, just be really cautious when you're using it. And there are some glitches. It's brand new. It just changed last week. If you guys haven't gone in and seen, it was like literally one day last week I opened up and it all of a sudden had changed and the new one was in there. I'm sure they're going to work out the glitches where it'll be connected more to the wizard or where it auto fills out who the buyer and seller is, or where we just saw today it didn't push from the listing directly. Maybe it will the next time I try, but it didn't today. But I'm sure they will work out all those glitches, and I'm sure they're going to switch over, or they're at least testing the market for how many people like the new interface of it. So play with it and go and see. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you guys, I was going to show you here just real quick, when you go into your Authentisign and you have the choices between the classic and new. Let me go into the pen here. So the new, you can see I only have the transactions that I've like worked on since last week, right? Which looks like a lot, but it's mostly you guys signing for the Rob Vivian thing, right? The classic, none of my transactions from here are in the new. So I really hope that they're going to give us the opportunity to push it into the new, or, you know, like I say, if you know off the bat that there's something you desperately need from there, or something you definitely didn't save, go back in and do it, because it's not showing up. When I opened the new Authentisign, there was nothing in here, absolutely nothing, right?
A quick one before you go.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's a counter offer,
yeah,
how do you do that e-signing for?
So you just take the PDF that the
so they send you.
You're gonna save the PDF somewhere on your desktop. You're gonna go to the pen here. You're gonna click add at the top here.
Okay.
Okay. New or old? New doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
Sure. New, and we're gonna say counter.
Whatever it was, saves that PDF.
Yeah, and then you just do your participants and pull the document from your computer and sign it on here, right? Okay. So the signer say I need to add myself, save, and then I'm gonna go here and add the document and just say here is where I save the counter offer. I click on it and it'll add it to the signing.
I see sometimes CC also, no? Copy.
CC for
ourselves.
What do you mean?
Last time I see the system say CC copy, like, you know, if I send it to you, then you copy it to me also.
For, oh, like if I just want to send you a copy and you don't need to be a reviewer or anything like that. You mean when you're setting up who they are in the participants? Let me go here. CC is not a function I use that often, but I think I know where you're talking about. So in the classic over here,
one, I don't know. Where
I go add, actually, we'll just go into this one that I created instead of creating a new one, and go to participants here. Yeah. Add participants. Let's say add from contacts, right? Let's just add Addie again. It's the first on my list there. Okay. And you're talking about, okay, I'm not gonna like, I want to make them, oh, sorry, up here. Yeah, this is where it is. So here you can make them a remote signer, an in-person signer, a reviewer, or a CC only. So I guess I've never actually used a CC function. Reviewer, I know it makes you say, yeah, okay, before it shoots it off to the next person to sign. I'm going to say CC is only going to send you a copy and you have 0 actions to do on it. I don't know. We could test it and try it. Maybe I'll send one to you and just see what the CC is later. I've never used it before. Yeah, because most of the time I'm just getting like a husband and wife to review it or sign it. I'm not sending anybody a CC copy and it's going to shoot out the copy to them anyways when they're done signing it, right? Mm-hmm.
You see, later you can send me.
Yeah, like that's what I say. After this, we'll send each other one and then see what happens when it comes to your email, right? No problem. All right, before I go, a couple things. I mentioned it earlier before we started, but there weren't a lot of people here yet and online. Nobody had joined us yet. We were chatting about it. So next Tuesday, I booked Treb to come in. Oh, no, sorry. Next Tuesday, I booked Remax head office to come in. They're going to talk to us about the back office, how to use it, tools and functions back there, the CRM. But the biggest thing is the leads. I want everybody to make sure they're set up for their leads, because that's the most exciting thing about me joining Remax. We never got these kind of leads at the Century 21. We never did. Things are popping up on my phone. Sorry?
Should bring our laptop as like a hands-on thing?
You guys can, because I can guarantee you that if you haven't logged into your back office, we're going to have to troubleshoot with their IT department, because everybody who's gone to log in first, I've had to troubleshoot and go through it. But just trust me, leads pop up on your phone. It's super exciting to get a random lead out of nowhere. It doesn't happen that often, but Remax has some good marketing power. So we might as well take advantage of it. I want our office to be sucking all those leads, because I can guarantee you that there's a million agents out there who aren't signed up for it properly, right? So we're going to be doing that. Head office is going to talk to us about that on Tuesday. October 5th, I have Collaborate coming up. I know some guys in the office have asked me about Collaborate. It's a really good tool. I usually use the prospect searches, but Collaborate is really great because it's in real time. Your clients are getting updated. So instead of having that email pushed in the middle of the night, they're getting it in real time. If something loads at 3 o'clock, you're getting it at 3 o'clock, because that's exactly what you're looking for. So you can get a jump on listings. I know today in a bid situation, it's important for our clients to be updated quicker, ASAP. And of course, let me know if you're signing up for Rob Vivian. Don't miss the opportunity. The office is paying for it as long as you attend. You're not allowed to miss it. Otherwise, they're going to invoice you for it. It's a $500 value. I've trained with Rob Vivian before. I love it. But also anytime I've trained with Rob Vivian before, and I've talked to other people from other offices, the office has made the cost on the agent. Fantastic opportunity from the office, but it's 8 sessions. It's pretty dedicated. 8 sessions, 1 to 3 every Wednesday, starting next week on the 29th. Okay. So let me know if you want to sign up. There is a contract you guys have to sign. Just because, like I say, they're footing the cost for it, but it's excellent. You guys have to join it. I love Rob Vivian. I'm a big fan of his. I know when I've trained before, I've talked to you guys about Mike Ferry's not really my style, or Tom Ferry and all those other guys out there, but I really enjoy Rob Vivian. He's infectious, and if you can learn some things from him, he's definitely where I take a lot of my tips from, and I've been to like 100 of his things, so I'm super excited about it. We're not going to Ajax, so because
Ajax where you live touch.
So he's done a lot of conferences out in the Ajax Convention Center there. He does. He also has like a whole studio in his office where you can go, and there's like really nice cubbies, and he does a lot of cold calling and stuff like that. He's a really good coach. I've wanted him to come in maybe over the 8 weeks if things lift a little bit. He's going to be live streaming it. But I still think it's a really good value. There's going to be a workbook that's going to be emailed out to everybody that we print and sort of go along with things. It's a good tool to keep. You can see in my office, I've kept all of his workbooks of everything I've gone to. So so those are 3 exciting things coming up for training. And sorry, he's still a registered real estate agent. Yeah. But also don't forget, if there's any, I'm just trying to think of exciting things to do that I get excited about. If you guys need something, let me know and we'll figure out some training for it. If I'm not able to do it, or if I don't know, we'll hire someone, we'll get someone come in and do it. We're going to be working on a lot of goal setting now coming into the last quarter. Super important we start working on our goals to kick off the new year, right? Because you can't stop that ball rolling. So lots of exciting things coming up. Don't slow down. Don't let the fall and the rain and the snow coming soon slow you guys down. And keep on working hard. All right. Everybody have a good week online. I'll see you there.